This is Glow in the Dark Radio. The science fiction podcast with original independent science fiction written and performed by Mike Luoma, with music by Kevin MacLeod. The Vatican Assassin Trilogy and The Adventures of Alibi Jones by Mike Luoma are available in ebook, trade paperback, and audiobook wherever you find your books online. Get links and details at glowinthedarkradio.com. This is the Science Fiction Podcast, Glow in the Dark Radio. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma, and I have Chapter 31 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest on the way on this episode. So let me set it up for you. Our story so far, kind of. Getting involved with what seemed to be a giant ghost ship has tangled Alibi Jones up in the affairs of the alien race, the Rhoday, who actually make up the ship. They've unsuccessfully attempted to assimilate Alibi, but he has not become part of their oneness. The Rhoday have been killing other humans with their assimilation process up to this point. Because Alibi has slightly different developed mental capacities, he's been able to resist them. And Alibi tells them they must stop. This has to stop. The Rhoday are willing to listen because they want Alibi's help fighting an infection of sorts of their great ship, the ghost ship. The remnant energies of what were the elite of the ancient enemy, the Hunger, have invaded the ghost ship and are attempting to take it over. Can Alibi help the Rhoday fight them back? Should he? Is the enemy of my enemy my friend? Or is Alibi Jones risking losing his mind and body to the Rhoday? And now 2 Solar Alliance Stinger ships have appeared. Find out what happens next as we get into Chapter 31 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest on Glow in the Dark Radio. A big thank you to patrons. Patrons keep Glow in the Dark Radio going. And I'd love to have your support. For $2, $5, or $10 a month, you can become a member. Just head to patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio and learn more or sign up to become a member. And thank you so much to those of you who are patrons and help keep the podcast and my websites and everything happening. The only book news I have is something that's coming up. I wanted to let you know that the Smashwords Summer-Winter Sale is coming up in July. Summer in the Northern Hemisphere and winter in the Southern Hemisphere. So thus the Summer-Winter Sale. The big ebooks, my big ebooks, the omnibuses and such, those are going to be on sale for half price. So some half price ebooks on the way as part of the Smashwords Summer-Winter Sale at smashwords.com. And I'll have more about that as we get closer to the sale itself. We'll get into Chapter 31 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest coming up next on Glow in the Dark Radio.
Under 30,000 feet of water, the exploration rig Leaguer has discovered an oil field larger than Saudi Arabia. With oil so sweet and pure, nations would go to war for the rights to it. But as the team starts drilling exploration wells in their race to claim the sweet crude, a deep rumbling beneath the ocean floor shakes them to their core. Something has been living in the oil. Paul E. Cooley's The Black is a techno-horror thriller reminiscent of movies such as Leviathan and The Thing, and puts terror right into readers' ears. The Black, a free podcast novel available from shadowpublications.com and iTunes. Ocean exploration will never be the same.
here's Chapter 31 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest on Glow in the Dark Radio. Alibi floated between the cruiser and the great ship and watched the Solar Alliance craft approach. The two ships closed the distance with the cruiser, the asteroid with Anita's wreck on it, and the giant ancient ghost ship. Each Stinger ship was about twice the size of Alibi's cruiser. All three were dwarfed by the great ship of the Rhoday. Anita relayed her coordinates when she made her call for help. The ships had evidently decided to go direct, trying a blind transspace jump, a bit dangerous in an unknown system with asteroids flying about. One of the Stinger ships was forced to maneuver out of the way of a rock, almost at once. This complicates things. Anita Capituna! The hail rang out across all open comm channels. I'm on the cruiser, Anita answered. These others came before you did. I was about to call and tell you not to come, but something else came up. Yeah, the SA captain said. I see that. What the hell is that thing? The great ship of the Rhoday, Alibi answered. Really, they're combined bodies and minds, melded together. All that's left of their race in that one giant form you see in front of you. Who are you? The SA captain said. Identify yourself. Alibi Jones, sir. I came looking for my aunt. She's now safe on my cruiser. One of the Stingers began moving towards the great ship. Hey, what are you doing? Alibi asked. Taking a closer look, the captain said. I'm not sure that's a good idea, Alibi said. The Rhoday don't really understand the concept of boundaries, been known to drain human life from bodies, and they're now doing battle with something inside them called the Hunger. Is that so? The SA Stinger ship flashed by Alibi, on its way in towards the Leviathan. You'll probably see a drain on your power soon, Alibi said, and an idea struck him. Aunt Anita, can we release my report to them so they know what they're getting into? No, she said. That's classified. Oh. Alibi, she said. What is this hunger thing you say they're fighting inside them? If my theories and experiences are right, it's the combined bioenergies of the elite of the ancient enemy, Alibi said. I've felt them reaching out for me. Reached back once and was almost consumed by them. Escaped. But I discovered in the process that Azimet tried to bring them all forward into our time, and something went wrong. They became a swirling mass of hungry consciousness with no body to inhabit, until they met the Rhoday. The Stinger ship moved closer to the giant ebony vessel, seeming to shrink as its size was dwarfed by the old Rhoday immensity. As Alibi watched, the surface of the great ship in front of the Stinger undulated and dimpled. Oh no, the Oneness said inside Alibi's head. Never seen it do that before. The dimple deepened. Its edges cratered up, growing into a circular wall rising from the surface. The Stinger ship stopped and began to turn around. Yeah, don't like the look of that, the Solar Alliance ship's captain said over the comm. Back it off! The surface inside the dimple broke open into a maw, and the circular wall became 6 snaking tentacles, giant grasping arms of the Rhoday substance, reaching for the Stinger ship. They flew forth from the surface, thinning out as they extended with surprising speed to surround the Stinger. The aft of the Solar Alliance craft glowed as its captain cranked up its engines, pouring on power in a vain attempt to escape the grasp of the great ship's tentacles and the gaping hole below. The great ship gathered its snaking arms back inside itself in an instant, pulling the Stinger ship whole and intact into the hungry maw. As the surface of the giant ship closed again over the hole, an explosion began to erupt, but was snuffed underneath the rewoven threads of the Rhoday substance.
We did not do that,
the Oneness insisted. But you just did.
No, that was the hunger,
the Oneness insisted.
It does things when it takes over parts of the great ship, when it inhabits us. Things we would not do.
And that bothers you?
Yes, it is not of the Oneness.
So, now you know how I feel, and others,
when you take over without our awareness or control. How you feel now? That is how you have made me feel. Alibi was curious to see if he could teach the Rhoday a lesson in empathy. This is much to dwell on. Good, but you just killed more humans, more people. No, it was the hunger. That distinction may be lost on them. Alibi nodded at the other Solar Alliance stinger ship. The enhanced sensors in his EVA suit's Rhoday exoskin allowed him to see energy building up, ripples dancing across the surface of the ship as it armed its blasters and energized its defensive screens. His thoughts turned to his crew, his ship, and Alibi turned to be sure that his cruiser was still safe. What he saw disturbed him. A thin Rhoday exoskin was encircling the middle third of the ship. Hey, what are you doing? We are preserving and protecting a part of the oneness from the hunger, the oneness said in Alibi's mind. If we lose the entire great ship, we can save a part of ourselves here. Oh, really? What about your dwelling? Our dwelling is threatened, clearly, the oneness said. No, I meant what you were going to dwell on. Oh, you mean you don't wish us to do this? No, I don't. I don't think so. At least, not without asking first. And no going after the people inside the ship, you hear me? Alibi knew those inside the cruiser had no idea the Rhoday had wrapped themselves around the outside of their ship. You are not going to like this, Alibi Jones, the oneness said. A figure floated towards him, humanoid in shape. As it neared, it looked to be another human encased in a Rhoday exoskin, but Alibi didn't see a trace of an EVA suit. As it drew close, he recognized the face behind the thin Rhoday membrane covering it. Hello, Alibi Jones, Humphreys said. Alibi heard the voice in his head, mind to mind, the way he'd been hearing the oneness. I see you're experimenting with the Rhoday tech as well. What? Alibi said. Humphreys? Yes, he answered. Humphreys? Came the query from Anita over the comm. He's floating here in front of me in an EVA suit made of the Rhoday substance, Alibi said. Unlike me, he doesn't have an EVA suit on underneath. The Rhoday are his suit, and he's talking in my head, like them. There are myriad possibilities for Rhoday-human hybrid function, Humphreys said in Alibi's head. Imagine what we can do together. The thought put Alibi off. Already had quite enough interaction with you overbearing aliens. Don't like all this mental conversation either. Too intrusive. That is not Dr. Humphreys, the oneness said, surprising Alibi. What? He died, the oneness said, during his experiments. Not all are as strong as you, Alibi Jones. His mind left him. It joined the oneness. His body was abandoned. The idea was a good one. We used it to cover you as you are now, with modifications. But it was too late for him. We kept his body alive on the great ship, encased as you see. But that is not Humphreys. Who is it? We do not know. Who are you? Alibi asked the Rhoday-encased form of the late Humphreys. We hunger, Humphreys said. I see, Alibi said. He turned on the comm. Appears the ancient enemy is inside the body and mind of the former Dr. Humphreys here in front of me, Alibi reported to the crew on the cruiser. Not sure if it's one or many. Humphreys grunted as he lunged towards Alibi. Do not let it touch you, the oneness warned. We've kept you protected from the hunger, Alibi, by shielding you from the great oneness. If that other touches you, it could overwhelm you. The hunger could then take us both over. All our preparation and protective measures would be for nothing. Alibi used his EVA suit's Rhoday augmented propulsion to jet up out of the lunging way of the other man. Humphrey's momentum carried him off after he missed. Alibi continued his mental conversation as he watched Humphreys tumble away. Maybe you should let me experience the great oneness. You might lose yourself in it. the Oneness warned. Lower your filters slowly. Alibi began to feel other presences nearby, or just one other. But not other, the same, but greater, larger. The greater oneness, the whole. He recognized it. It had touched him before. This time, it spoke in pain. The burning, always the burning, a poisonous hunger attacks. The hunger burns up everything. His Rhoday-enhanced helmet showed Alibi the hunger's infection of the great ship as a malicious fluorescent green miasma, a malignant cloud of energy pulsing around the area of the ship where the dimple that swallowed the Stinger ship had manifested earlier. It's not that large an area, not a big part of the great ship. Though not large in physical presence, the energy of the hunger is greater than is apparent from its size, the Oneness said. The dead one comes. Humphreys attacked again. Alibi, distracted by his exposure to the greater oneness, had almost created for himself the same trap the hunger tried to lure him into earlier. Alibi blasted out of the dead one's path, up and away from the cruiser and the remaining safe Stinger ship, arcing out from the plane of battle. His path took him around the other side of the Rhoday Leviathan, out of sight of the human ships. Alibi, where are you? Anita called over the comm. Alibi was startled. He could see her, Emily, and Kat on the bridge of the cruiser clearly in his mind's eye as she called. He wondered at it before realizing it was probably the Rhoday substance penetrating the outer shell of the cruiser that was allowing his perception. The anger that generated gave him strength. I'm on the far side of the Rhoday ship, Alibi said, trying to stay away from zombie Humphreys. Now that he knew what to look for, Humphreys looked like a small smudge of green energy staggering through space. The smudge was growing larger. Alibi let the figure chase him. He judged the man's speed and matched it, then increased his slowly. He looked back to see if the smudge had kept up. He had. Alibi floated down towards the surface of the Rhoday ship, still increasing his speed. The great oblong beast narrowed towards its front and back, down to a thick wedge on either end. Alibi neared the front wedge, or the back, he wasn't sure. Didn't matter. He looked back. The dead man had fallen behind. That's okay, Alibi said to himself, and anyone else or oneness who might be listening in. He tried not to think of his plan as he neared the great ship's edge. He didn't want whatever mental contact he had with Humphreys to give anything away. As Alibi crossed the threshold, he twisted and fired the EVA suit's most powerful rockets at the base of his boots to propel him in a 90-degree angle down across the front of the ship. He blinked spots from his eyes as he dropped. He told his mind he wasn't dropping, just changing direction. His mind wasn't sure just yet. My head's going to explode, isn't it? Even with his suit's compensatory fields and the Rhoday material's protections, the G-forces in the radical turn nearly blacked Alibi out. Stay awake! Eyes open! Alibi's ears pounded as the blood rushed from his head. He looked ahead of himself to check his path was clear, before twisting in place to look behind. Alibi floated across the wedge-shaped front of the hulking Rhoday vessel, along a course perpendicular to his previous. As he looked back, he saw the dead man, still on the previous trajectory, floating past the front of the great old ship. Alibi tried not to think of himself. No, I don't think I'd be safer on your ship, Anita said. The captain of the unconsumed safe Stinger was beginning to realize his efforts to convince the former prime rep he had her best interests at heart were futile. Ma'am, with all due respect, he started. She stopped him. No, she said, don't even continue. Sentences that begin with that phrase never end well. The inference is usually that no respect is due at all, isn't it? I'm sure you know that's not my intent, the captain said. Now is not the time to argue semantics, Captain, she said. Instead, consider this. You are on a safe Stinger ship nearly identical to one which that huge ancient ship over there seemed to consume rather easily. On the other hand, I'm on a little cruiser that has successfully docked with and boarded that ship once already, and got away to tell the tale, and which is still here now. All true, the captain said. Anita's attitude seemed to sour him, however. His demeanor grew darker. He frowned. Our mission was to rescue you. Seems like you're okay, though, and a whole ship of our fellow safe troopers has paid the ultimate price for it. I did not know Alibi was coming out here to find me, she said. It was purely a coincidence. And as there is no comm grid out here for subspace communication, I couldn't stop you. Still, the captain said. Gotta admit it looks bad, doesn't it? No, because it does not, she said. Oh, watch out, Captain! Anita was watching a view screen with an external feed of the safe Stinger ship. She saw the Rhoday-covered form of Humphreys come barreling up behind it. Fwash! Fwash! The safe vessel's second shot hit Humphreys directly, full on. The Stinger ship's captain wasn't fooling around. His ship's blasters were on full power. Both human and alien material burned up and disintegrated in an instant. One down, the captain said. Don't think you're shooting the other one, Anita said. He's not a threat. I disagree, the captain said. All the evidence I've seen says anything involved with this alien substance is a threat. That includes Jones. Far as I can tell, he's coated by the stuff, same as the one I just blasted. And I've got some bad news for you, Prime Rep Capituna. That ship you're on is surrounded by the stuff, too. I don't think we can be sure you're yourself anymore, can we? Sure you can, Alibi Jones said. Everything she just said is true. Who is that? The captain asked. Is that Jones again? She said we shouldn't trust you. Now you vouch for her? That's some kind of paradox or something, isn't it? Like a habitual liar who tells you he always lies? What do you think? Alibi said. Alibi floated from the end of the ancient gargantuan towards the safe Stinger ship and the cruiser. Their locations were relatively close together, set slightly apart from the Rhoday craft. He couldn't see on board the Stinger ship, only hear the voice of the captain, and see whatever he showed of himself on the comm. But the cruiser was permeable. Alibi could see through it, see his aunt and the two others inside. Sharkovsky isn't going to like this, the captain said. You shouldn't have called for help if you didn't need it. Now people are dead. You should leave, Ms. Capituna. You seem okay, but that ship kills people. If I thought we had any chance of saving anybody from the other ship, I'd stick around. But everything I see tells me that ain't happening. We're going. Anita frowned. The problem with the Solar Alliance today is that your generation thinks we won and finished the war all those years ago, Anita said. We didn't. Wake up. That same enemy just killed your friends, Captain. What the hell are you talking about? The captain said. We fought the last of the ancient enemy 20-plus years ago, she said. Or thought we did. And the Eldred all died out, conveniently, when the revived Dolomé died. It seemed like we won, true. That's all history, the captain said. You got a point, or you just trying to keep me here? My point is that we faced a new threat a couple of years ago, which turned out to be related, Anita said. Azimet, another of those called the Ancient Enemy, discovered time travel. He couldn't move his physical body through time, only his bioelectrical matrix, his mind and soul. He came ahead into our time and possessed a human body, and almost killed Alibi, who discovered him. Alibi tells me Azimet is somehow now possessing part of that alien Hulk out there, and that's creating our problems. So it's still the same enemy. We're still fighting that war. Nice speech, the captain said. Not a speech, she said. If you're going to leave and report to Sharkovsky, I want you to tell him exactly what I just told you. I can tell by your lack of alarm at what you've just heard that your security clearance isn't at a very high level. I need you to let your superiors know what's going on out here. So, you don't think I'm smart enough to be afraid of that thing, huh? The captain said. You don't have enough security clearance to be afraid, she said. That's different. I'm sure you can see. There was a pause, the captain deciding whether or not to be insulted. I'll tell Sharkovsky everything you said, the captain said. We're out of here. Fine, Anita said. Thank you. Alibi watched the safe Stinger ship drift away from the cruiser, small attitudinal jets pushing the vessel into position for its short trip to where it shifted in from transspace. The transspace drive would retrace its uncharted steps backwards to safely map a return to depot. When the safe vessel hit its mark, it disappeared, shifting into transspace. Alibi floated alone in space with the cruiser nearby, the great ship of the Rhoday off in the distance. "Alibi," his aunt called over the comm, "why don't you come back on board?" "I think I can do more good out here," Alibi said. "You left the ship under their control," she said. "You weren't under your own power. You can prove you are, once again, yourself by returning to the ship." "I don't have anything to prove," Alibi said. "I mean, I hope I don't. Not to you, Aunt Anita. Maybe to myself. Think you're always proving stuff to yourself, really, aren't you?" "Alibi," Anita said. She didn't like his tone, but she recognized it. She had to admit, it was pure Alibi Jones. It sounded like he was planning to do something foolish and risky. She couldn't tell him without pissing him off, but he sounded a lot like his father used to, in similar situations. If, like BC, he next told her he loved her, she'd know he was about to risk his foolish neck. "I love you, Aunt Anita," Alibi said.
That was Chapter 31 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest on Glow in the Dark Radio, part of the Adventures of Alibi Jones Chronological Omnibus. Well, Alibi is about to risk his neck and do something foolish. Or at least Anita thinks he's going to. And she's probably correct. They're at a little bit of a stalemate with Alibi's crew on the cruiser, the Solar Alliance Stinger ship, and the ghost ship of the Rhoday, now possessed in part by the hunger, all assessing each other and the situation. We'll see who makes the next move on our next episode, in our next chapter, Chapter 32 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest, coming up on Glow in the Dark Radio. Once again, a heads up that the Smashwords Summer-Winter Sale is coming up. It's on the way. It'll be happening in July. And I'll be offering 3 of my big old ebooks that are usually $4.99 for half price. So there's that to look forward to, and I'll fill you in on more details as we get closer to that sale. And again, a big thank you to patrons who help keep the podcast going. And I'd love to have your help doing that if you can. For $2, $5, or $10 a month. If you can contribute, please head to patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio and learn more about how you could become a patron and help support the podcast. I would love to have your help. That is all for this week. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma. Thank you again for listening to Glow in the Dark Radio. Glow in the Dark Radio. This podcast presentation is copyright 2026 by Michael F. Luoma and is protected under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License, CC by NCND 4.0. Music by Kevin MacLeod. You can find his work at Incompetech.com. Mike's books are available in ebook, paperback, and audiobook, wherever you find books online. Get links and more details at glowinthedarkradio.com and mikeluoma.com. This has been a presentation of Glow in the Dark Radio.